Hi guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Hello everyone, what is the tea? What is the Darjeeling, the Lapsang Souchong, the Scalding Hot Assam, the Earl Grey? Oh, what is the disaster tea?
What a disaster to my tea and light refreshments.
Now, I've wanted to make this video for a little while now, and it's a topic that I wanted to discuss about pros and cons and my experience about getting tattooed really fast and getting a lot of coverage in such a short amount of time, and things that I've had to deal with, things that I've had to go through, and just like pros and cons of all this journey. Now, for new people who are here, they might not know, but I have got myself pretty much fully covered, nearly. I would say I'm about 65% covered. It's hard to kind of put an exact number on it, but I would say around about 65%. What people find quite shocking about this, is the new people who don't know, is I've had this all done in less than 2 years.
Stop showing off.
The start of 2022, I was completely bare. And I don't think people really took me seriously when I was saying like my plan about actually, no, I'm being serious now. I'm going to fully cover myself from now on and just go with it. I'm not going to have any massive gaps. I'm literally just going to go. That was always my plan. I did discuss it a little bit beforehand, but I don't think people really realized how serious I was. So before I get onto the main topic of this video, I do just want to give like a brief rundown of what I have tattooed, the explanation as to why I've done the speed that I've done it at. This isn't going to be a tattoo tour video, so I'm not going to be spending ages talking about it. So just going to be a really quick rundown of everything I've got done. I have both of my arms from top to bottom, all the way down to my like hands covered, completely covered, all the way around, completely done. We've got a bit of space on my armpits to do, but like pretty much all covered. I have basically the whole top of my chest done. You know, it does come up to here. It comes all the way around here, comes down here through my sternum, and then onto my side here. And this is half done, but it's practically all covered still here, all this side. I have both of my legs done completely, all the way around, in and outside, completely covered. From some of it goes down onto my foot as well on each side, but completely covered all the way around. Half of my bum is done, so my leg work goes all the way up into my hips. You can see like parts of it coming up here as well. Like it fully comes all the way around on both sides. Like if I stand top like naked,
Slag.
you can't really, like the only bit of skin you can really see is kind of here. All of that is like fully covered, but of course it goes around the back as well, and like kind of onto my shoulders on each side as well. I just had some more tattoo work done, so this side's kind of peeling a bit. So I would say about 65% maybe a bit less, I don't know. Now there's a few reasons why I decided to do this, and one is because I'll just be honest, it's because like I am an impatient person. Like, I am an impatient person. And also just talking to other people that, like, when you have half-completed work done on your arms or your legs or something, especially places that are visible, like, people say that it drives them mad. It just annoys them that they have half pieces done. And I knew, for my own sake and my own knowing myself, I knew that I was going to be like driven insane if I had half of work done, half pieces done. I just knew it was going to be annoying. But second of all, I really wanted my tattoos to kind of age together. A lot of the time, the places where you first got tattooed already looks somewhat aged by the time you finished it. And I really didn't want parts of my leg and my body to have like different aging levels on the tattoo. So with each of my pieces, I tried to get them done as quick as I could so I could make sure they kind of aged together. You know, there were a few other reasons too, but I think those ones are the kind of main ones. So the first thing that I found probably quite jarring, and one of the hardest things I think to get used to, was, I'm gonna call it TAA, Tattoo Attention Anxiety.
What a stupid, phony, made-up name.
This is something that people do get also with getting new piercings. When you, as someone who starts to express themselves the way that they want to, which may be like outside the norm. Now, no tattoos aren't outside the norm. Getting bright, colorful tattoos isn't the most common thing. If you go down the street, it's actually very rare to find people who are like covered in like really bright, colorful tattoos. I never really noticed that much until I started getting them done, and I'm like, oh, everyone just loves black and gray. And it's really rare to see people that have like really bright, colorful like arms and legs. You just don't see it very often, at least where I am. And I'm in London, one of the most populated sort of multicultural places in the world. Like it's actually quite insane how many people don't have really colorful tattoos. With piercings and tattoos, obviously getting piercings, you have to go slower. Your body just does not heal very well if you do too much too fast. When I was getting piercings, it was a lot easier for me to get used to the attention that I would get. I would only get one piercing, then like maybe like 4 or 5 months later, then I would get another one. And so it was a lot easier to kind of get used to the attention. By the time I was onto like piercing 5, it was like, oh, this is fine now, because the attention would get more and more intense, but you were able to get used to it as you went on. Tattoo attention is actually very different. And because of the speed that I've gone in like visible areas, I wasn't really able to get used to the strong attention that I was gonna get so quickly. I don't think I realized, again, as I said about colourful tattoos, I don't think I fully realized how much attention I would get. When I say piercing attention and tattoo attention is very different, the attention that you get from tattoos is people will literally come up to you and just grab hold of you.
Take your filthy hands off me, peasant.
Touch you, pull you around, try to take photos of you. Like, sometimes when I was on the tube and I'm heavily pierced before I was getting tattooed, I would sometimes see people trying to take photos of me. But again, at this point, I'd kind of got used to it. But people wouldn't really try to talk to you that much. Sometimes it might be like, oh, cool piercings or something, and you might get some dirty looks. But people would never like try to physically touch you. Now and then, it might happen, but very rarely. I don't know what it is about tattooing, but people honestly will just go up to you and grab hold of you and go, oh my God, oh, I love this character. Because I'm covered in like a lot of millennial nostalgia, it's people go like, oh my God, I loved that game. I loved that show. I loved that movie. I loved all this. Like, I mean, my horror movie leg is sometimes, you know, it's a lot of it's 80s horror as well, because I've got like Alien and like Freddy Krueger and stuff as well on me. But most of my stuff is sort of like millennial nostalgia, video games, stuff that I grew up on, because it's all things that I loved. People are like, oh my God, and then they start trying to talk to you. And I actually, considering my job, I'm actually quite introverted when it comes to talking to strangers. It's very different when like YouTube subscribers and things come up to me, because there's a commonality there where they're like, oh my God, I watch you on YouTube. And then we have a discussion about, you know, videos and things, and like there's like instant connection. So when I say things like that, if you ever see me in public, please don't ever be worried about saying hello to me. It's a very different interaction. But when people come up to me and just start trying to like touch my arm, sometimes it can be a bit jarring, and I'm like, please don't touch me.
Don't touch me! What?
And I don't think I really truly got that was going to happen. And especially because of the speed that I've gone, I wasn't able to gradually get used to it. It was kind of just like, nope, that's it now. You have to deal with it. Because I already had the kind of desensitization to the attention because of my piercings and doing this as a job, I don't think it didn't stop me from wanting to do it, but it was definitely a moment where I went, oh, this is very different and I wasn't expecting this, especially. So last year was like my awakening year where I started going to festivals and things, and I found a nice, lovely little group of friends where we go to like hardcore festivals and events and like hard dance stuff here in London, and we went to the Netherlands and things, and I'm going to DEF CON this year, which I'm very, very excited about. Any gabberheads and hardcore ravers here, DEF CON, can't wait. Talking about people grabbing you in attention, you go to a festival and like people have got a bit more drunk, they have, you know, people take drugs and things, and like you get that level of barrier down as well from people, and people just go insane. I lost count the amount of people that just like grabbed hold of me. It's annoying. I guess it's a world that unfortunately, with a lot of this stuff, I try to be really realistic about it. People are not just gonna suddenly stop doing this. Like, I can't just make one video and suddenly the whole world's gonna stop giving me attention and grabbing hold of my arms. It's going to happen and you have to accept it. It's not about agreeing with what they're doing, but you have to realize that at this current time, people will do this kind of thing until it gets more normalized over the years. Like most things, in 30 years time, when people have like bionic arms and everything's robotic and things that AI is so integrated with everyone's life and everything, and things like me having colourful arms won't be as shocking, but still in the day and age that we live, people still find it very striking to have very bright, colourful tattooed arms and legs. I kind of just have to accept it, and it's fine. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing because of it, but I have to say that was probably one of the first signs where I was like, oh, this is very different, and I wasn't expecting this type of attention. I was getting a lot of tattoo attention anxiety, where sometimes I would just wear long sleeve stuff because I just I didn't want the attention. That is definitely something that people should keep in mind. If you do want to get a lot of tattoo work quite fast, you will get attention, especially if you're going to get things that aren't necessarily the most common. Because like when you see like a rose or like a clock on someone's arm, it doesn't go, oh, that reminds me of when I was 18 years old and I watched this show. Like, that's never going to happen. But like when you watch things like this and you suddenly see like, oh, there's loads of classic Simpsons characters on this guy's arm, and it reminds you of like nostalgia. Of course, you're going to get a different attention than if you get more generic-y things that everyone's got, especially if it's black and grey compared to bright colours. If you're someone who has a lot of anxiety, you don't like attention, start with areas that are less visible and slowly build yourself up into more visible areas. And that goes for anything as well, not just tattoo work. You know, if you want to wear a specific type of jewellery, or if you want to express yourself in a slightly different gender sort of, you know, expression. With makeup, I used to do the same thing. It was slowly where I would wear like a little bit of mascara, and then sometimes I would then start to add a bit of eyeliner, and then I would put a bit more mascara, and then I'd wear a bit more like makeup. I don't really have much makeup on today, but when starting to wear makeup, I was also very nervous. I was like, people are going to give me attention. They're going to look at this like weirdo bald man in like makeup and think freak.
Which wasn't very nice.
I eased myself in. I eased myself into the world, so it wasn't too overbearing and like sort of overwhelming. But with tattoos, I didn't ease myself in, and I just went, boom, I'm here, girls.
You weren't invited.
Now, number 2 is, I don't know what to call this. What word should I call them all? Girls, body shape hiding.
It's no laughing matter.
Now, without trying to like stroke my own ego, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life. Like with these like bright, you know, stage lights on it kind of flattens your body out. But like, I am in the best shape I've ever been. My shoulders are really big. I've got good arms now. I have, my chest is quite big. I'm in the best shape I've ever been. I'm very aware that this vest is too small for me, but I wore it so you can kind of see the tattoo work underneath it. But I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life. However, if you go back a couple of years, or even just like a year, maybe like a year ago, when I didn't have as much tattoo work done, I actually look like I'm in better shape then than I am now. And that's because when you start covering yourself in tattoos, a lot of your like body definition gets hidden because of all the contours and everything, but kind of disappear. Now, I knew this was going to happen. Like, I was fully aware this was going to happen. Tattoo artists told me this was going to happen. And like a lot of the time, tattoo artists will try to do tattoo work on you that will kind of like fit with your body shape, so it doesn't change it too much. When you get fully covered the way that I have, and especially when you're using bright colors everywhere, that's a lot more difficult to do. When you look at me like this, or just like this, you can't really see much. It's slightly difficult to see any sort of like shape or definition because like most of the contours have been taken away from all the tattoo ink. Obviously, when you see me without taking my top off, like you can see that I have obviously definition here on my chest and it comes up. But if you see my chest without clothes on, it kind of almost looks flatter. Now again, I was fully aware that this was going to be the case. I knew that it was going to happen. But even when you start to notice it more, you're like, oh, that's a bit strange. But that was definitely something that I don't think I realized how much it was going to change. Like, I still, I'm still covering myself. I'm still doing what I'm doing. But I don't think I realized how much that was going to change the way that my body looked. So another topic I've not really spoken about that much is money. So I obviously saved up for a long time to be able to do what I've done. It costs a lot of money. It's not cheap what I've done. And I get a lot of people commenting about like, how much have I spent? How much have I done this, everything? Now, I grew up with old people, the silent generation, and we never really spoke about money that much. It was very like, you don't speak about it. Of course, we never really had any money at all growing up at all. But I saved up for 5 years to do what I have done because I knew that it was going to be expensive. Remember, what you have to remember is like, cheap work isn't good, but good work isn't cheap. And I know that's a saying that everyone says, but it's fact.
It's true.
So I don't tend to talk about money. I've always been very funny when people ask me about, not even just like tattoo work, like how much the things cost and stuff. I've always been very... And like, I don't, because I grew up with old people and there's a hangover that I've had ever since I was living with them. Like, out of all of like me, my brother, and my sister, because I was the youngest, I was the most, I guess, impressionable to them. Out of all 3 of us, I'm 100% the most like my grandparents because I was the youngest one.
It's your fault, I'm sorry.
Of course, they had a lot more impact on me growing up. So there's lots of like, my friends are constantly telling me that I'm like an old man sometimes. But like a lot of the mannerisms that I do and things, even my references, the amount of like Carry On films and like old media that I put into videos that most people, our age or a bit younger would have no idea what it is.
And I love it.
And it always makes me uncomfortable because it's just how I was raised, that you didn't talk about money. You didn't talk about how much money you earned. You didn't tell people how much money you earned. You didn't tell me how much people like things cost. I'm trying my hardest to get out of that. But even now, just talking now, I'm really uncomfortable. And I wish I wasn't like this. I guess it's like a weird pro-con of the tattoo world, because of course people are going to be curious about how much you've spent on your tattoo work. Anytime anyone asks me how much money I've spent, it sends me into like an anxiety like spiral. And I know that this was going to be a part of it. When you get lots of tattoo work done, people are going to ask you. Even just talking now, I'm so uncomfortable. You might be able to say, I'm so uncomfortable. I do get some mates rates, I'll be honest. Me and my tattoo artist have become quite good friends. I have some mates rates. I get it. And I'm very, very grateful. I think it's very generous of them. I will say, one thing that I will say, which has been an interesting bonus, I think, of doing this, is doing tattoo work really, really fast. Is I have become quite good friends with my tattoo artists, which I don't think you necessarily will be if you see them only a couple of times a year. Because I'm seeing them like every few weeks, it's like you become so much more invested in their lives and what they're doing. Because when you don't see someone for like 7 months and you're with them for maybe like 6 or 7 hours in a day, it's like you can only really tell them so much about what's going on in your life. In that time, they're seeing so many other people that I think it's a lot, obviously more difficult for you to become like close friends. But of course, because we'll use Hiro, for example, who does my arms. I've been seeing him every few weeks. I'm seeing him in a few days, actually. I went through his like whole process of like having a child, moving studios, thinking about moving house, like all of the parts of his life, like lots of details in his life that I never learned. His family, his background, how he grew up and everything. Because I'm seeing him like so often, it kind of like, I'm not saying forces you to become friends, because if you don't like someone, you don't like someone, but like it kind of forces you to know a lot more about the person because you're spending so much time with them in such a short amount of time that like you're telling them a lot more micro details about your life and what you've been up to. I don't know if I thought about I was going to make friends in this process. I didn't know. And like also Vulcan, who does my legs, I see him a little less than I do with Hiro, but even then I'm like, I know a lot about his family, his life, where he comes from, his growing up, you know, what he does for a living. I know a lot about his future plans because I'm seeing him so often. I don't think you get this connection with someone if you only saw them a few times a year. That's been quite a nice bonus that I didn't think was going to happen, is that I've actually made good friends with my tattoo artists. See how I changed the money topic and went straight to something else? Oh, I hate it!
Now pull yourself together.
So, but yeah, that was definitely something that I had to get used to. People asking me how much money I've spent. I mean, I knew people would ask. I didn't think I'd realize how much people would ask. And also, like, I kind of assumed this was going to be the case a little bit with like invasive questions about piercings, because all the time, I'm always asked all the time by literal strangers, like, do I have my dick pierced? And it's like, stop asking me about my genitals. It's really weird. With the tattoo work as well, it's the exact same thing. Do you have your like arsehole tattooed? Have you got your gooch tattooed? You're gonna tattoo your dick? And it's like, don't ask about my genitals. Like, I find it so weird being alternative. People just love to ask you really invasive questions. It's like they think now that you're a bit weird or you look a bit strange, that all of a sudden this barrier to what's right and wrong goes. It's very strange. It's a very weird world to be a part of. Random strangers will just ask you the most invasive questions for no reason. And it's the same thing. I didn't realize how much more intense it was going to be with people asking you about your family. Like the amount of questions about my mum and my dad and my parents. Like, what do they think about it? And it's like, it's none of your business.
It's got absolutely nothing to do with you.
That will make no impact in your life whatsoever. No impact in your life. And you like, and also because I come from such like a broken family, like a broken home, those kind of questions, I'm like, can you just not ask me? My family is so messed up. Like, my dad died. My mum was an insane drug addict and just fucked over her kids. Both of my grandparents are dead. I don't have a relationship with basically any of my family. And it's like, when you ask a random stranger, what do your parents think about that? It's like, well, do you want the truth? Because I've done this a few times where like strangers will ask me questions about my family members because of my modifications. And then I tell them the actual truth about my family and they're like,
Thank you, but never mind.
Like, don't ask questions that you don't want the answers to. Now, the third thing is downtime. Every time you get tattooed, for the next couple of weeks, your life is slightly more difficult, especially for the first week, I would say. The second week gets a lot easier. I mean, it depends on where you're getting tattooed. I, of course, am in a very good position where I'm able to work for myself. I work from home. So when I get tattoo work done, like recently, I got some a few days ago. Obviously, my arm's peeling a little bit. We did some touch-up work on this side. I'm able to kind of just leave my top off, work from home, not have to worry about like hurting things because I can just keep my arms like this and work with the other way. Or if I've got some of my leg tattooed, I'm able just to kind of like sit down and not have to put too much strain on the area. So if you're someone who works like a normal office job or a construction or work at a shop, or any kind of job as well, we have to leave the house every day, I would say it's probably not a good idea to do the kind of stuff that I'm doing if you're able to get the time off work to be able to do it. Obviously, with my job as well, I'm able to like change my working hours to work around my schedule. It does mean that I have to work until midnight some nights, so this isn't really like a con for me. It's quite difficult to have to constantly have parts of your body that you have to keep clean like all the time and have to wash it multiple times a day, moisturizing it multiple times a day, keeping it open, trying not to get like trying not to hit it, trying not to hurt it, damage it. I would actually be really interested to hear anyone who has got a lot of tattoo work done that's kind of the same as what I've done in the speed I've done it, and like how you coped working like a normal 9-to-5 job or like a normal sort of retail job or something and doing that. I'd love to hear from anyone in the comment section. Well, anyway, anyone who's actually working normal jobs and getting tattoos, like how do you work around that? I really want to know actually. And going along the same lines of this, I want to talk about like the best and worst places that I have had tattoo done and things that I found a bit shocking or not. When it comes to the healing process, the easiest place I would say has always been kind of weirdly, although it's been the most painful, my front of my chest and my side has been the easiest place to heal. Weirdly as well, my armpit. This little section here of my arm, like towards my armpit, heals so fast. The hardest places I would say for me have been like the knee, not for pain wise, but just for clothes rubbing or like moving around because of the shape of where the knee is constantly kind of contracting and relaxing, that like healing those areas do take longer than others and it's actually really difficult to handle. And like the knee ditch, like the back side of the knee, because of the way that it moves all the time is actually really difficult. Any kind of place in your body where like bits move, so like this inner part here, the elbow, and like the wrist, these kind of areas where there's like a lot of movement where like it kind of moves all the time, they're definitely the most annoying places to get tattooed and to get them to heal. Most time, if you're going to get things on your knee, you'll probably need at least one touch up because of the rubbing of your clothes. Again, especially if you work normal jobs where you need to wear a suit. And I'm saying that it was difficult for me, even just working for myself at home. Those areas are hard. So if you work like a normal job, I say normal job now as if like social media influencer isn't a normal job. I feel like it's become so normalized now that I need to get that sort of like mentality out of my head. I can't really speak for places like the back because I haven't got my back done. I got obviously the back side of my shoulders done, but my actual back where the spine is and things, because I haven't got anything there, I can't really comment on that. I started with my right arm, and so I'm right-handed. I kind of started here just because I feel like it was going to be the least painful. When I first went into it, I really didn't know how painful tattoo was going to be, obviously. No one really does. People can tell you painful areas, but until you actually have it done, everyone feels pain differently. But I don't feel like the ways that I have felt pain has been very different to like the standard pain chart. My most painful areas until I got my front done was the knee ditch, the knee pit. They like round the back of the leg on those little tendons in the center. That was the worst places that I've got tattooed. I also found the left side of my body, going around the back towards the bum, was on the inner thigh, was actually really painful as well. And it's because I had stretch marks there. Going over stretch marks, I don't know if other people have felt this, but it was so painful. Like, it was so painful. Then I started getting my chest done. I don't know if I just seem to have more nerve endings than other people, but my chest and my front seems to be so unbelievably painful. Sissy! And my like side here, like people always say the ribs hurt a lot and actually quite hard to deal with. Like to the stage now where we've done touch-up work and extra bits on my arms since doing some of my chest, and I genuinely am like, I could sit here for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and not have any problem. Like everything else feels so like least like not painful at all now because of how painful my front has been. But definitely chest and my side and my ribs have been the worst places, to the stage where normally we would do like a full day session, which is like 6, 7, 8 hours. Because of how painful my front has been, I normally only go for like 3.5, 4 at max, because it's so painful. It's so unbelievably painful. And I don't want to use things like numbing calming cream because it does change the texture of your skin. And on the final thing about healing, which I have found to be actually quite a pro doing it faster, is I've become very, very aware of how to heal tattoos on my body perfectly.
Ooh, we are proud.
And also, can I say, compared to piercings and tattoos, like with piercings, there's kind of only like 1-2 ways of actually healing a piercing. You know, you just clean it morning and evening, saline or some salt water. Sometimes you can get like a spray, but again, the sprays are exactly the same. It's just saline. You spray it, you wash it, whatever. Morning, evening, that's it. You don't put anything else on it afterwards. You don't put creams and things. You don't put all these other sprays and shit on it. No, you just kind of clean it and leave it, and that's it. With tattoos, on the other hand, there is this huge iceberg of like different methods of healing tattoos. There is hundreds of different tattoo creams, hundreds of different tattoo balms, different butters, oils, like different cleaning products, different soaps, different inks. Like there's different ways of heat, different methods even afterwards. Like some people don't use anything. Some people wrap it with cellophane. Some people wrap it with like the nappy wrap thing, like the pads. Some people wrap it with second skin. Like there is so many different methods that I was actually really overwhelmed when I first started getting tattoo work done, because even my 2 tattoo artists that I do, both of them, even them, had different methods. And then me talking to other tattoo artists online or other people's experiences, all of them had different ways of doing it. And it's a bit of a mind. And it took me a little bit of time to work out what's best for me. And I think if you're someone who's getting tattooed over a long period of time, it's probably a little bit more difficult to kind of work out exactly what is best, to test different methods. By the time you've tested like method 3, you might have forgotten what you did on the first one exactly. How I originally was healing my tattoo of the very first session is very different to what I do now. What I do now, the first 2 days when it's all a bit gooey and sticky, I just don't put anything on it. I just wash it and I just leave it. And then day 3, I will then wash it morning and evening and use, I've got at the moment, I use it like Easy Tattoo Cream. I don't like to use Hustle Butter or like any oils or like butter kind of moisturizers. I find they leave my skin sticky and they make my skin break out.
And we don't want any of that nonsense, do we?
Don't like using them. Bepanthen as well, it's just a bit too thick and sticky. Like they have like an actual, where is it? I had it here a second ago. It's summer. Bepanthen do have like an actual tattoo cream now that they've specifically made for tattoos. I still don't like using it. It's too thick and it's just, it just makes my skin sticky and gross. Mine's starting to peel now. I can't really tell because I'm a bit far away from the screen how much you can actually see, but like it's a bit peely. And this is only like day 4. It's not hurting. It's not doing anything. It's fine. I can move. Like there's no tightness in the skin. It's absolutely fine. But doing the old method, it would still be really sore. And I've been able to learn that really quickly because of having this tattoo work done in such close successions. I've been able to test a lot of different methods on my skin. My superhero Rob, my superhero robot, body biddy be dum dum body biddy be dow. My superhero Rob.
Don't you start.
So another question I've been asked a lot is, have I had any allergic reactions, any bad reactions, any scarring? Because of course I'm using a lot of color, and you know, some people have, you know, allergic reactions to a lot of colors. There are certain like pigments and certain inks that people's bodies don't like. And of course, when you're getting tattoos like I am, I've got every color under the sun tattooed into me. So there's gonna be a chance that at something you're gonna have some kind of reaction. I feel like I've actually had quite a lucky experience when it comes to tattoo inks. I've only had one reaction that was actually like a notable, oh, there's something weird here. I mean, over the years, obviously I've got a lot of tattoo work, and there's 1 or 2 places where the ink is kind of like dropped out of the skin. Like things like fingers as well, the ink, a lot of it has come out, but that's not necessarily a bad tattoo reaction. As you can see, even with, we've gone over a couple times, you can see the ink's kind of a little bit dropped out a little bit, especially like on the knuckles. A lot of the color has kind of just come out of the knuckle. Like the fingers are definitely like a really difficult place to do, but that's not really like a bad reaction. That's just, unfortunately, the finger skin is a lot more, you know, it's thinner. There's not much space for the ink to sit, so it does kind of come out a little bit more. It's actually been really recently. We did some extra shading on Homer Simpson's head here, but if you look at the top of his head, there are these little darker lines that I made as shading over like his like jester hat, and we used a darker red ink there. And something about this one specific ink my body really didn't like, and it just went like, it's hard to kind of explain. It didn't go scabby or anything. It kind of just looked a bit weird, the tattoo. Like everything around it was like nicely healed, but these one little sections where we did the darker pigment, the darker like red pigment, my skin was just like, no. And it was just like angry and sore, and it took a bit longer to heal. But that's the only really, reaction that I've actually had. We're going to be able to fix it. We'll just use red and some black and sort of darken the red up, because like the normal sort of bright red ink, which I've used multiple times, like we used it on my shoulder here, we've used it on like, we've used it on the rest of Homer's head as well. It wasn't just that part of the jester hat. Like, it's fine, but red inks tend to be one of the more difficult ones to heal. I spoke to my friend Lauren Treacletats about this when it was going all weird. I was like, just out of curiosity, has this happened to you? And she showed me that her hand, she's got like a red rose on her hand, and she showed me bits where like it didn't sit in her skin very well because the red pigment, just like body seems to hate red. Red seems to be the color that everyone seems to have problems with anyway.
I must remember to make a note of it in me diary.
Comment down below if you've got any red inks in your body. Has your body liked it? I've not really had anything else that's notable. I've had one or two little sections of my arms or things that look a bit weird or might take a little bit longer to heal, but I don't think it was ever really like a bad reaction. I think it's just like at that specific time, my body decided to be annoying. I don't think it was specifically because of color inks. Sometimes in areas like this around the shoulder, moving like this and doing this, I have ripped the skin a couple times. Unfortunately, it's unavoidable. Like, if you're going to get a lot of tattoo work done and you're going to get, if you get 1 or 2 tattoos, the chance of you doing this might be less. But like, if you're someone who's going to get fully covered, you're going to have some complication eventually. So there's been a couple times like along here, I split the skin once at the gym, and I went to the gym too quickly. I should have left it like an extra day. I thought the skin was more healed than what it was, and I kind of ripped it doing like a bench press, because obviously I was doing this, which then stretched the area out, and because the skin was trying to heal, it kind of just ripped the skin a bit. It happens sometimes, unfortunately. That's another thing that came with the downtime. As someone who tries to go to the gym like multiple times a week, having to take a lot of time off and then have to sort of like build yourself up a little bit, that's been a little bit difficult to handle. If you're someone who doesn't get tattoo work done as much, you're able to kind of take a few days off and then go back to the gym and really work out. It's been actually a little bit difficult to kind of keep on top of everything since getting tattooed as much as I have, because I've needed a lot of downtime from the gym, which has been quite annoying. Now, my skin is really, really sensitive. I've always had very soft, sensitive skin. I haven't really got many places where I've scarred. There's a tiny bit here on my, like you can cut, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit here on the blue where I scarred. There's 1 or 2 little bits on my leg where I scarred. I can't think of anywhere else that I've really had any kind of issue, but I haven't really scarred. I mean, again, when you get fully tattooed from like as much as I have, you're gonna probably scar somewhere. Like, scarring sometimes happens. One question that I have got a lot of is like, what are things that you should never like try to do or try to ask a tattoo artist or try to do when you're in a tattoo studio? Of course, every different artist and different studio will have their own set of rules of things that you can and can't do. So what I'm about to tell you is kind of more about general consensus that I've gathered over the years, and of course talking to my 2 tattoo artists that I've been doing my body. You have to be realistic about what you're trying to get done. I understand that sometimes you have ideas in your head that you want, I really want this, but if you're someone who wants to get like a micro tattoo and the tattoo artist is okay with doing it, they have to make sure that they inform you that like micro tattoos look good for a while, but as the ink ages, even within like a year, so much of the detail of a micro tattoo is going to gone. It's gonna be gone.
Where'd he go?
I see it a little bit as like a corset piercing where like you do it for a bit and it looks fun, but then it should be gone and then you can't just get rid of a tattoo. But like, it's that kind of idea where it looks great first and it looks good for a tattoo, but it's not something you're actually going to be able to live with, especially when you're like, I want it on my hand or my fingers or like certain areas that are more problematic. Specific tattoo artists like to do specific types of work. The guy who does my arms loves doing like bright cartoon tattoos. He doesn't do like fine line work or, you know, mandalas or hyper realism. Like this is not what he wants. So like, remember that when you're doing research, don't just see someone who's got really nice artwork and go, can we do this type instead, and completely change what the person does. Make sure that when you're going to a tattoo artist, they do the style of tattoo that you want to do. If you're going to a tattoo artist whose main shtick is hyper realism, black and gray, demonic tattoos, if that's the kind of thing you want to go for, like, don't go to him and be like, can you do this bright, colorful chicken? Come here, chicken. I don't know what, like, I know this kind of sounds like a Durr thing. Like, of course, do that. The amount of stories I've heard over the years of people going to tattoo artists and being like, can we do this? And it's like, that's absolutely not what I do. Like, why would you come for me for this? I've heard so many stories, and there is some give. And I get that some tattoo artists will be okay with being like, oh, maybe I'll just tweak this a little bit. At least be realistic with who you're going to, with what you want, because you're wasting your time, you're wasting their time. And in this industry, like time is money. Also remember that tattoo artists are there to give you something that like will be on your body for life, and they want your input. So if they're making you a design or something, don't feel scared to be like, oh, I'm not too sure about. Obviously, as I said, be respectful and realistic. But like, if there's like an arm that's a shape that you don't want, or something, like, just make sure that you do actually tell them, because you are essentially an advert for them. From going forward, you're going to be an advert for them. So they want you to be as happy as you possibly can with this tattoo. So if you're not happy with something, even if it means the person's going to have to start again, if you are not happy with it, don't say yes to make it easier, because this is on your body forever. Forever. And if you don't like it in the end, or you're something that's like, you know, oh, I'm not sure about this, but I'll just say yes just to make it easy, you're gonna be so upset, and you won't want to show people, you'll hide it, and then not only are you kind of wasting your money, you're also wasting the tattoo artist's time, because now, like, I'm not saying tattoo artists do their work so you advertise them, but like, when you just like get something and then they're like, oh, now you're ashamed of it and you won't show people or tell people, it's like, oh great, now what? Do you know what I mean?
No.
But with that being said, remember that the tattoo artist should, as long as you go to someone good, like the majority tattoo artist will try to tell you the best advice. So if they're saying that, if you want a specific thing and you're saying, oh, I don't want this flower this shape, or I want it to be more this way or this higher up, and the tattoo artist says to you, for the shape of your body or the shape of this or something, it would look better like this, because if you look at it this way, it's going to be weird. Listen to them, because they know what they're doing. Don't just be like really stubborn and be like, no, I want it like this. If you don't like something, don't get it done. But if they're telling you that doing it this specific way isn't going to look good, listen to them. I do think sometimes people get a little bit stubborn and they sort of act like they know more than the tattoo artist, especially like, I think this is why a lot of like famous people have kind of bad tattoos, because of the ego, and they don't like being told what's like kind of what might not look good. So again, like it's like a micro tattoo, like micro realism. Like if a tattoo artist goes, I don't really want to put that like lion head on your knuckle because it's going to look terrible, like maybe listen but maybe listen to them. And of course, there's always a compromise. There's always a thing that you can do, like, oh, okay, this will make me happy if we do it like this, but maybe we can tweak this a little bit to be more of what I want. And like when you're getting tattooed, don't do this. Like if it's tattooing part of your arm, like don't just lean over them like this trying to look at everything. Like it's okay to look what they're doing, but like keep your distance. You don't need to be like this micro sort of managing everything they're doing. Like if you are happy to get this person to tattoo you for something on your life, you should trust them enough to not need to like micromanage them. And if you're micromanaging it, like maybe don't get tattoos, because you need to have trust in the person that you're that's tattooing you. And if you don't trust them, then you shouldn't be getting tattooed. Because also you have to remember that the tattoo artist also needs to be relaxed. So if you're there, this bit, can you do this? Oh, what about this? Oh, no, and, oh. So what's this bit? Oh.
Stop it. Be still.
Like, it's okay to be curious. I ask people all the time, oh, like, what does this needle do? Like, what's the difference between this needle and this needle? Or like, what's the best way to do this or something? But I'm never like going, don't use that. You shouldn't do this. Or, oh, I'm not, maybe like, what? Because it makes them uncomfortable. And then they might be more anxious to do what they're doing, and they might make a mistake. You have to remember that they have to also be comfortable. So don't try to micromanage what they're doing by doing this. Oh, and of course, stay the still. Of course, things hurt, and you can grunt and you can make noises and things as long as you're not screaming. Remember, you have to also stay still and stay composed, because again, they have to do a job. They want to make you happy and they want to make it perfect. No tattoo artist doesn't want your tattoo to be like perfect. You're an advert for them, so they want to make it perfect. Be respectful and stay still. So one of the main questions I get all the time is, do I regret doing what I've done in the speed I've done it, or do I regret anything I have done? Have I changed my mind? Because I understand that the speed that I've gone is quite jarring to a lot of people. When they hear that I've had this done in my 2-year anniversary is like middle of March, I think. When people hear that the speed that I've done it shocks them. They get really shocked because most people get this much coverage over the multiple years, and I've done it in less than 2. I understand the slight shock or whatever, but the questions of constantly like, do I regret it? Have I changed my mind? Have I done this? I find it interesting that you would look at the work that I have done and think that it's like not thought out. I have meticulously planned everything that I've done on my body. Yes, of course, as we've gone on with the space and area changing everything, that 1 or 2 things have been tweaked and changed. But like the main idea of everything has been exactly how I've wanted it.
I'm glad. So am I. Woo.
As you're going, things change, things will alter. There are certain parts that go, oh, that wasn't in the original plan, but I thought, oh, why don't we add this here to add a bit of zhuzh or something fun? Like little things like the Pac-Man that I have on my knuckles. Like that wasn't in the original plan, but as we were doing it, I was like, oh, that'd be really cute if we add them there, because I really wanted Pac-Man integrated into my gaming arm, but I didn't know exactly where I wanted it. So I was like, oh, this is like a perfect little area to put them in. And I absolutely love them. But like, that's the closest I've gone to being like, oh, we've altered it. Everything I've done on my body is like been so planned out that I don't know why people think that what I've done is I'm not thinking it through, or that I'm going to regret doing this. It's not just like random shit that I've just decided to put on. Even just watching me or knowing me as a person, do you know that I'm absolutely obsessed with like The Simpsons? I put in like a bajillion Simpsons clips into my videos. I love The Simpsons so much, like to the stage where I'm wearing Simpsons socks now. I've got loads of Simpsons Funko Pops here. I've got like Simpsons shoes all down here. I've got loads of Simpsons shoes down there. I've got Simpsons all up my arm. I put so many Simpsons clips. Like, I'm so obsessed with The Simpsons. I love, like, if I could pick anything in the entire world that I'm like, if I have to rate anything that I'm obsessed with and like what I love and adore and what means so much to me, The Simpsons is like #1.
Oh, I've wasted my life.
So the idea that you would think, oh, I'm doing this and not thinking about it, it's like, this is clearly my arm with all the Simpsons, like Treehouse of Horror, is clearly so thought out. It's not just like random shit. The idea that anyone think that I'm gonna regret doing this, or like I'm going to, that I've not been, like it's not thought out, I don't really understand where that's coming from. I'm also heading to my mid-30s as well. I'm not like 19 getting tattoos to begin with. Like if I was a 19-year-old maybe doing all this, I would think maybe, oh, okay, you're still really young, so maybe just slow down, because you know, you might change your mind or something. I'm like mid-30s almost. Like how long do I have to wait? Like how long will I have to wait before people who say that kind of thing are actually going to be happy? Because I feel like you're never going to be happy. You'll always have a problem with what someone's doing. So I don't know how long I have to wait before it's like, I'm clearly thinking this through, and it's not just like random shit that I'm doing for a whim or for a laugh. Like, it's so clearly thought out. I don't regret what I've done. I'm very happy. I know there's been a lot of pros and cons of everything, and there's definitely been a few things that I've had to really adjust to and get used to doing, but I don't regret what I've done. I'm so, I cannot tell you, even though talking about the body shape differences, you know, the attention, when I see myself now just in underwear and I'm just standing in the mirror with underwear, I cannot tell you the confidence boost and how much more happy I am having all this color and like nostalgia and love and all the things that I'm obsessed with, like tattooed on me. I cannot tell you how much joy it has brought my life on, like to have all this on me. I'm not even finished yet. Obviously, I've still got this side of my body to do, and I've got my back to do and my neck. I can't tell you how ecstatic I am to wake up in the morning and to see everything that I love on me, like all the time. And this is how my body's gonna look now forever. And when people say, what's it gonna look like when you're older? I don't give a shit what it's gonna look like when I'm older, because when I'm older, I'm gonna be old. Your skin's also gonna sag. Your skin's also gonna change. You're gonna have your skin just because it's bare. Like, I don't understand this whole, I will just never understand the idea of like, what's it gonna look like when you're older? I will never understand that. So, you know, when people say, would you do anything differently now if you start again? I mean, if I was to say anything that I would do maybe differently than what I've done now is like maybe with the Sonic section, I would put like one of the bot flies, the little enemy flies, or like one of the crabs behind them to maybe put more of the theming. But like, we don't really have much space between it anyway, so it would have been squashed. But if I was to say, would I do it? If I had to give an answer, that's maybe what I would say. But especially like on the Simpsons arm, there's basically no space anywhere. Like everything is a character. I can't really say that. I'm so happy with what I've done. And I know you might bring up the fact that this video, this title is called I Regret Getting Tattooed Too Fast. And I'm just going to be completely honest. I know, because I knew people would click on that more than if I say my tattoo experience.
So you're a liar.
And unlike that Kevin woman, I'm admitting it and I'm fully owning that's what I've done. To be fair, I rarely ever use clickbait at all. I only ever use it when I feel like there's a good meaning to. So I feel like I've kind of covered everything I wanted to say, and all the questions that I kind of got, I tried to put them all into one. I don't feel like I left anything out. If there's anything else you want to know, let me know down below what you want to know about my tattoo journey and if there's anything I missed out. But thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope this is hopefully gives you some informed you more about the experience that I've had, if you give a shit. And thank you if you are still watching the video now. Comment down below. This is a comment. Yeah, it's been a very interesting journey that I've had, and I wouldn't have changed anything for the world. I feel like actually I've had a really good experience overall. Of course, there's been pros and cons. There's been many things that I've had to sort of get used to. But I'm very happy with what I've done, and I can't tell you how ecstatic I am about being tattooed finally. Over the years I've been talking. Now, if anyone's followed my journey on YouTube for a long time, you know that I was talking about it for so long before getting it done. And the fact that like I'm over halfway is so exciting. And I'm very excited to start doing my back. When you guys see the back, it's going to be so good. One of my favorite games. So excited to put that onto my back. It's going to be so good. It's probably going to be the most evil out of everything I've got, but I'm very excited. But yeah, anyway, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos that are coming up. I'm actually filming this on like Patreon changeover day, so Patreon's always a bit of a mess on the first couple of days, so the shout outs and everything will continue on the next one. Yeah, like button, subscribe, notification bell, and I'll be back for some of my regular reaction content very, very soon. Yes, goodbye everyone. Bye.